We are all here to learn some tips and tricks for a smooth and profitable business sale. And who doesn't want that? So today's, just to put a preface on it, I'm not going into legalities, the structuring, or the valuation. That's not what we're here for today. I'm going into the little nuances and things that you probably won't find anywhere else. Like, how do you even go about, or can you even transfer an Amazon seller account? What do you do if you want to sell one product but not the other, and they're all within the same account? What are your options there? And what little things can you do to really attract buyers and push up that price? So that's what today's all about. And of course, stick around to the end, because we'll go through any Q&A, not just on this topic, but anything else, whether it's the ZonGuru tools. We'll try and help out where we can. So let's jump into it. So firstly, do you have an asset to sell? Obviously, if you're listening to this, maybe it's crossed your mind, you've got an active business, or you're starting out with the intention to sell, which is always, it's good to have that goal from the outset. So firstly, is it profitable, or has it got the potential to be profitable in the future? So when you're going to sell, the first thing you're usually asked for is to give your financials for the last 12 months. So your performance is important. If you've got large spikes for 1 or 2 months and then nothing, that's not as good as having consistent, reliable sales. They may not have those big peaks and troughs, but it's reliable. People do like that. So give that some thought. When's the best time, if you are thinking of selling, to post those financials? Is it going to be, maybe you need to trade through another Christmas period, or build up a little bit of that track record. So long-term stability is a big one, and maybe flip it around. What would you be looking for if you were buying a business? I know that I would want something that has been operating for a little bit. It's not a flash in the pan. I want to know that there's stability there. And also, have you locked in that supply chain? Have you got a great relationship with your manufacturer, someone who's reliable, producing quality goods for you? Have you got a 3PL, a freight forwarder, that whole chain where someone can just walk in and go, great, it's all done? That's all valuable and adds to your business, and something that's really appealing, because depending on what level you're selling at, particularly if you're that entry-level seller, people really want that done package. They do value that. And of course, intellectual property. This is all an asset as well. Have you got your trademarks in place? Is there any patents? Do you own the domains? Obviously, when you're starting out and you have your brand, not just the domains, but the social media handles, everything. If you're delivering a full package, that's so much more appealing than someone having to go out and fight for those rights. And also, healthy Amazon seller account and reviews. I can't put enough stress on the value of that. We all know how difficult it can be to get those 5-star reviews, and lots of them on the board. So if you've got that, that is super attractive and valuable to buyers. I know when I was selling, that was something that really got people interested. I had a very popular product, 5-star reviews. I was one of the few with 5 stars in my category. It was a tough category, and that really got the conversation started with those buyers. So if you can tick off some of those, and some of the first two are more of a timing event, when is the right time to sell? Have I got a healthy 12 months behind me? Of course, you don't need to have 12 months, but it certainly helps. It's something people will be asking for. So you've got an asset. What's it worth? Now, as I said at the start, we're not going to go into this, but I just wanted to point out something that's super cool on your ZonGuru platform. So if you're a ZonGuru user and you're using the business dashboard, you may have seen the business valuation box. It's just to the right. And what this does is it gives you just a quick little look at what your business may be worth. Now, I'm sure we'd all love to log in and see that our business is worth $1.2 million. And hopefully one day we can all get there. But if you log in next time you're using ZonGuru, just check that box out. You might be interested that you can actually change the multiplier. And what that means is when someone's valuing an Amazon business, usually what they do is they take the discretionary earnings and times it by a multiplier, whether it's usually between 2 to 4, depending on the product, the business. ZonGuru defaults to 2.5, but you can change that. And that just means that it's your discretionary earnings times that is your business value plus your stock. So worth checking out, and there's heaps of resources online about how you actually calculate that discretionary earnings. But essentially, it's your net profit, and then you add back anything that you've isn't relevant to a buyer. So if you've paid yourself a wage or your personal phone or something like that, it all gets added back to actually make the value of your business that much more attractive. But cool little tool that's worth checking out. But other things that can really pump up the value of your business is having those accurate financial records. And again, on your business dashboard, if you don't know it's there, go and check it out. You've got your P&L, but you can also export that to PDF at any time. That is so valuable to be able to, it's a third-party report that you can provide to anybody at any stage going, here is a really clear, concise record of how my business has been tracking. It's not some dodgy handwritten note or an Excel worksheet. It's a connected account with Amazon. It's reliable. It really does help. I know that if I was looking to buy a business, I would be placing so much more reliance on that than something like an Excel doc someone's just put together. Social media followings. This is a big one. If you're selling on Amazon, you know how fickle they can be in terms of that's their audience, that's their customer base. Having that second channel that you can directly communicate with your buyers and without those restrictions is priceless. So if you're building up a social media following, packaging that as part of your sale can be really helpful, because say they want to expand the brand, they've instantly got that whole customer base that they can market to without any restrictions, whether that's on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, doesn't matter. Super, super valuable. And again, positive seller feedback and product reviews. And this all goes back from the very beginning, creating a product of quality that people love. That will naturally come through to your reviews and feedback. Nobody wants to take on a seller account that has poor health. Maybe it's been suspended, it's flagged by Amazon. It's just a minefield. You don't want that. It really, it's going to affect your sale price there, or it makes it much more difficult because they don't actually want the seller account, but we'll get to that in a second. Do you have secondary traffic? Whether that be on Shopify, or maybe you've got a Facebook storefront, Instagram storefront. There's so many other ways. Are you driving traffic there through other means, Facebook ads? There's so many different things that can be really popular. And it also, I know, depends a lot on the product, but that's something to think about. Are you selling in a category that has a high barrier to entry? Maybe you need complex molding. Maybe there's certifications. There's something there that's stopping other people from jumping into that niche. If I can buy your product straight off the Alibaba shelves, ship it to Amazon and sell it, that's not the ideal situation. Some sort of customization there, something that's going to stop someone just copycatting the product, makes it very appealing. And automated systems and processes. Is it a business that doesn't take a lot of manpower? Are you selling that lifestyle as well? Maybe someone's in a 9-to-5 grind. They like the appeal of your business, that it's something they can do a few hours a day and enjoy their time. So the more you can automate, the more you can put your processes down on paper, the more attractive it's going to be. And these are more softer things, but definitely when you package it together, you're selling something that is really attractive to a wide audience, especially if you can tick all these boxes. So next thing, how do you actually go about selling? There's so many different ways. Whether it's through a marketplace, an auction, a broker, direct, they all come with their pros and cons. I'm not going to go into that today, but I just wanted to show you an example of, maybe one that you hadn't seen or heard of before. There's quite a few of these different ones around. Veronica, I'm not sure if you've heard of Flipper. Is that something you've seen before?
No, I haven't.
No, cool. But so Flipper is basically an online marketplace for e-commerce businesses. Now, with Flipper, I've just sorted this for purely FBA businesses, and it's given me a list of all the FBA businesses for sale. And as you can tell, a lot of them, I can actually see what the products are, which is really cool because, you know, in the Amazon world, usually we hold that quite close to our chest. There are some that are confidential. Usually they're the bigger ticket businesses, but all you need to do is sign a non-disclosure confidentiality agreement, and that can be disclosed to you. This is a really cool place to kind of see what's out there. How do people list their products? What kind of information are they providing? So if I just click on this one, it looks like some sort of ice block maker. I haven't gone into any of these. I just wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like, what's out there. You know, they've got a few products, how long they've been trading for, what their net profit is per month. They've got their financials there, you know, month by month breakdown, and then a little bit about it, you know, what's included, the inventory, what assets. So this is already ticking some of the boxes I said before. Their domains are included, their manufacturing relationships, hosting accounts, you know, the trademarks. If I was looking to buy, already this one's looking pretty good to me because it's giving me peace of mind that it's a long-term, stable, established business with all its ticks and checks in place. But this is just to give you an idea of where you could potentially list. Or on the flip side, if you're wanting to buy or expand your current business, sometimes you can find great deals on these types of websites. And this certainly isn't the only one. I just personally like how they've set things out. They make it quite easy to follow. And, you know, they start from as little as $100 and they go all the way up to millions. So yeah, just something very, very cool to look at there. Each one obviously comes with its own fees and charges, especially if you get things like brokers involved. You can see here up to 15% of your sale price. But if you're in that big end of town, that can be priceless because they really do vet the potential buyers. They cut out a lot of that time-consuming legwork. But these slides and this replay will all be available, so you can come back and check this out. But this is what I find really interesting, and it's how you actually go about transferring a seller account if that's what you're wanting to do as part of your sale. Because if anyone's done a little bit of research, Amazon has a very blanket all statement that says they are generally not transferable. So how do you go about doing that? There's 3 different ways to do it. The first, which is by far the quickest and easiest, is you actually sell your business entity. So say I was that ice block maker and my company was Ice Block Maker Incorporated. Someone actually comes in, buys the shares in my business. They're the new director. They own everything. There's nothing that needs to be transferred. But I think you're going to be hard pressed to find anyone that's willing to do that because there's a lot of risk for the buyer there. They're taking on all the history of that company. That company could take out loans and debts that you wouldn't know of. The buyer comes in, there's suddenly the buyer's debts. And also there's issues if you're selling international there. I'm obviously based in Australia. You need to be an Australian resident. You need to have an Australian resident as a director on a company. So someone from the US, for example, wouldn't be able to come in and buy my company. Well, not easily anyway. There's always ways around it, but it's a very high risk situation, more so for the buyer. So that one might be a bit difficult, but certainly very easy in terms of transferring your seller account. The second way to do it is the one that I actually took. It's not too hard. What happens there, and I must stress, you need to have all your ducks in a row first in terms of your seller, your buyer-seller agreement signed, non-disclosure, confidentiality, everything must be in place before you are willing to give any sort of access to your seller account to another party. for obvious reasons. And what happens there is the buyer is added as an authority on your account. So you have the two logins to your One Seller Essential account. And then once everything is checked by the buyer and approved, payments transferred, they can go in and then change the bank account, the legal name, and go through the identity checks with Amazon, and it's transferred over to them, your emails removed. Please inform Amazon before you start doing this. Obviously, if you start changing company names, bank account details and things, and they're not aware, I can guarantee you'll be flagged. And worst case scenario, both accounts will be locked out. But definitely, I was surprised how quickly that took place. It all happened in a matter of days. I have heard that it can take some people months, but like I said, having all your ducks in a row can make that a really smooth process. And I was quite impressed. We were both happy, both the buyer and seller were very happy with how that worked out. The third way, very, very time consuming and complex. So the reason why you would not transfer your seller account, heaps of reasons, but main one would be maybe you have multiple products you're selling. You would like to sell maybe one or two of them off, but keep the other two. And because they're within the One Seller Essential account, you can't transfer the whole account. So what you would need to do then is pull all the inventory out that you're selling, maybe transfer it to a 3PL, and then it gets moved into the new Seller Central account for the buyer. That can take a really long time. There's relabeling. The buyer needs to go through the process of setting up their own Seller Essential account if they don't have one. And then you need to organize Amazon to actually transfer over the listings themselves so that all your ratings, your reviews move across with that. So it's doable. It's highly time consuming. So my tips there would definitely be if you have multiple brands and you have that end goal of maybe selling one of them, two of them, all of them, Amazon does let you set up multiple Seller Central accounts. I know that there is a blanket rule that people have that you can't do that. You can, provided it's for a legitimate purpose. If you've got a good track record with Amazon and you have a real reason for doing it, which can be that I have separate brands, my goal is to sell one on, they will let you do it. You do need to have a separate bank account for each business, which is a very easy thing to do, and let Amazon know, obviously, before you start trying to set up multiple accounts. But it is possible, and then you've got two separate Seller Essential accounts. It's really easy to sell one on. So that I've jumped ahead of two of them here, but that's just basically starting with the end in mind. So highly recommend that. Obviously, you need to have that track record behind you. Amazon's not going to let you set up 2 or 3 accounts straight out of the gate. Maybe you're selling one product for a couple of months, a year, and then you set up the second one with your next brand, and you go from there. So if I go back to the start, legals. I'm not a lawyer, just that's a super important step not to be overlooked. Lawyers can be expensive, but they can save you an absolute fortune. So don't overlook the details. Is it, think about things like, what's the inspection time? How long has your buyer got to look at your accounts to approve? Are you going to assist them going forward? How long is that going to be for? You don't want to be helping the new buyer out 6 months from now. You've got other things to go on with. And also escrow. So especially if you're transacting with someone overseas, how does that work? Putting money into escrow, so it's basically held on trust until both parties have satisfied their agreement. It's priceless. Highly recommend doing that. And tax. Before you make any major business decisions, speak to your accountant. Timing can be everything. Selling something this financial year versus next financial year can mean such a change in what the tax outcome is. And obviously every country has different tax outcomes, but have that chat. It can be 5 minutes and save you thousands and thousands of dollars. So definitely get that done. Now, I have not taken a breath here, so I'm going to stop and just see if there's any questions coming through. Veronica, is there anything I've missed?
No, it's super interesting to hear, and especially the last point that you made, that, start with the end in mind. I know that, a lot of people may be thinking, oh, this is not exactly where I'm up to, or I'm at the very beginning of my journey. But I think it's great to actually think about, okay, well, I may be at the beginning of starting up this product or this brand, but what is my future goals? Is this a forever thing, or, one day will I sell it? And to get yourself organized to, have that goal in selling it and being organized right from the beginning. So I think that's a real take-home message if people aren't particularly ready to sell something now. We do have a question from Cheryl, and she said, I have a brand and only want to sell my inventory, but not my business. Is there a way to do this?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So with that sort of thing, it can be difficult finding the right buyer. Like, where would those buyers be for that product? Maybe you've got a competitor that, if you're wanting to keep your brand, but you've decided that particular product's not for me, do you put it on one of those online marketplaces? Do you reach out to your competitors with a deal? It's finding the right audience for that sort of thing that is the difficult thing to do, but definitely possible. Definitely possible. The benefit we have of selling on Amazon is that you can always, your price is a big thing. If you're just wanting to get your money back, you can reduce the cost. Maybe you can do deals or bundling with other packages, other products that you've got. There's a million ways to skin a cat. What's the saying? A million ways to skin a cat. There's so many different ways you can clear excess inventory or inventory to either get your money back or profit on top of that. So definitely doable. But with our questions, like I said at the start, please don't just, they don't need to be about today's topic. They can be about our platform. Maybe you're in that product research stage. Maybe you've got a product in mind. Anything at all, we're here to help. So fire any questions through that you have. We'd love to hear from you. Any comments, where you're up to, and we'll be there to help. And if you need that website that I was looking at before, it's called flipper.com. I'll drop that into the chat. Flipper.com. And I'd be interested to know if anyone's actually gone through an Amazon sale. Maybe they're going through an Amazon sale at the moment. Just let me know. Otherwise, we've got a very quiet room today. No worries, guys. Nice, Eric. That's it's going to be a good one. I can imagine that your brand will be very popular. Can imagine a bit of a bidding war starting there. I know you've got lots of ratings. You're ticking lots of those boxes. You're very organized. It'd be a very attractive buy to a lot of people. And it's the reason why I think a lot of people might sell. It gives them that momentum, that cash to propel them forward, maybe into a new business venture, a new product idea. It kind of fast tracks that process. Maybe you've started with a brand, and after a couple of years, you've lost that passion maybe for that one, and you're ready to dive into something new. So there's so many different reasons why people do want to sell out or move on to different brands. And, moving that sale date can really make a big impact on other business ventures you've got going. Cheryl, you're very welcome. And Eric, I'm sure you will. So it looks like we've got a really quiet room today, which is good. We might all get an early mark. But what I'll do just while we're waiting is we really, really love hearing from you guys. The interaction, any feedback, any topic suggestions for the future, we take that all on board. And if you do have anything that you're wanting to share, it would mean the world to have just a quick click of the link when you're ready, and it will take you through. You'll hear more of me talking, which you're probably sick of already, but it gives you a chance to give that feedback, and it really is valuable. So I can see some more questions coming through.
Mm-hmm. So we have one from Jordan. How are you both? We're very good, thank you, Jordan. So the question is, I have one product that has on and off sales due to the nature of the product and COVID. I want to look at a new product to add to the line. Where is the best place to start? by the way, I'm new to ZonGuru.
Oh,
Well, firstly, welcome to ZonGuru.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Did you want to answer this one, Veronica, or do you want me to dive into it?
Maybe start off with, and I'll add as needed.
Yeah, so when you say you've got a couple of products affected by COVID, I feel your pain. That was definitely me last year. Now, if you've got a product line in mind, maybe it's, maybe it's yoga mats, and you're wanting to add to that range, what I'd recommend doing is running a niche finder session. So I don't know if you're familiar with the niche finder tool, but you can actually narrow it down by category and even put in keywords there. So did you want to run through a niche finder session, Veronica, or otherwise I can share my screen and jump into it?
Yes, I can do that.
Yep. Awesome.
All right, so you can see my screen, is that right?
Yeah, no, we're all good. And yeah, so I'd recommend going to niche finder, going into the advanced filter advanced mode there. This really gives you full control on what you're trying to find. So maybe you've got a launch budget in mind, maybe you've got other things that are really important to you, but what you can do is select your category at the top, say it is that yoga mat, which would be under sports and outdoors. And then in the include keywords box down the bottom, maybe you just type yoga to kind of see what would complement your existing brand if that's what you're wanting to build upon. So I don't even know what a yoga half ball is. Maybe we can just have a look at that first one. Okay. There we go. So maybe, if you're looking for ideas that really would help bolster your current brand, that's how I would do it. But if you're wanting to do a completely new product, of course, you wouldn't need to narrow it down by those phrases. There's some really cool stuff in here, actually. And this is the power of Niche Finder. It's your ideas generating machine. So, it's going to give you things that maybe you haven't heard of or seen of, but it will get those creative juices flowing and help you come up with products that maybe you wouldn't have found elsewhere. So I hope you find that helpful, Jordan, and that would be my first starting point. Diane, so we're taking a product off Alibaba and making it better is that you've basically put into a really concise sentence what FBA businesses are all about. It's creating a point of differentiation. You don't want to be ordering something straight off Alibaba and sending it to Amazon. Maybe you change the color, maybe you change the size, maybe you bundle it with something else, maybe you add a handle or, change the material. You're doing something, and that something can be tiny, but it's something that really sets you apart from the competition. You want to be differentiated, and just having those chats with your suppliers, your manufacturers, and just saying, hey, have you thought of making that blue? Can I put this on it? They're very accommodating. They'll be able to do that in 9 out of 10 cases, and suddenly you have a product that nobody else can buy. And hopefully that makes sense.
Can I add to that? So something that's exactly, or as Kimberly said, that's exactly what building an Amazon product is, and launching your product. You're ultimately, how can you make your product better than your competition? And what ZonGuru does, I'm not sure how familiar you are, is the love-hate feature is great for this, because you can put your competitors' ASINs in there and see what customers are loving and hating. If someone makes a comment, oh, why is everything, dark colors? You're like, oh, I can make a light color. Or people are complaining about this section breaking. How can I change it? And then you go to Alibaba, you start talking to suppliers and be like, look, I like this product. Are we able to make, X, Y, and Z changes? And you start a conversation from there, because ultimately, you're trying to make your product better than the competition. And in love-hate, the customers are literally telling you what changes they want. So that's a great feature to look into on making product improvements. Yes,
such a great point. And it's one of those tools that's often overlooked, but can be really valuable. And then taking that information, say somebody's saying, I don't like the color, go to Pinterest or just search on Google and, I want a a light colored yoga mat, and then you're given hundreds of examples, things that you probably wouldn't have found elsewhere. So yeah, great point. All right, guys, anything else, just let us know. Otherwise, we might all get an early mark before the Easter holidays. But otherwise, if you do need anything, just click the little chat icon in the bottom of the platform or email support@zonguru.com. We're always there to help. And of course, that link that I dropped in, you can see it there, videoask.com. Any feedback from you guys, and if you're super brave, you can even record your answer. We absolutely love seeing these. It makes our day. But otherwise, I just wanted to say thank you. And Veronica, you've been amazing. It's been great to have someone else on here with me.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed it. And yeah, take care, guys. If there's nothing else, we might end it there.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And I'm on the next training with Eric next week, so I look forward to having a chat with you then as well.
Yeah. Do you know what next week's topic is? Do you want to give everyone a...
Eric and I, our topic is on how to make a boss listing in the Australian marketplace. Because I'm not quite sure if everyone is aware, ZonGuru is now available in the Australian marketplace. And obviously us being in Australia, that's super exciting that we can actually dive in and see, okay, what's happening here. Amazon is, growing here, and we want to get started there. So that's next week, how to optimize your list or how to make a boss list in the Australian marketplace. So I hope that some of you can join us there and have questions and learn from there as well.
Yeah, awesome. It should be a good one. All right. Take care, everyone.